Like, son, you really want to go there? Okay. I was at a bar in Louisiana having a glass of fine whiskey with a couple of friends of mine when a car drove by, and this is on a back road, drove by so fast, had to be going 110, 115, maybe faster than that. And I said to my new friend next to me, I just met him, and I said, well, there's somebody going to spend the night in jail. And because right after he went by, a cop car went by. And the guy looked at me and he said, no, I've been stopped going faster than that on that road. And I said, really? He said, yeah, I was doing 150. And I got pulled over because the road comes to a T about half a mile down. It comes to a T, and if you hit that at 150, and as we used to say in the old days, at least at that speed, it won't hurt. And I said, and did you spend the night in jail? And he said, nope. And I said, well, I got stopped doing 128 once in just outside of Nashville. I didn't wind up going to jail either because I was in the General Lee. I got a ticket that was pretty hefty, but I did not go to jail. Why didn't you go to jail? He said, well, because the police officer that stopped me was my son. And I said, oh, really? Playing favorites. Your son was chasing you, didn't realize it was you? And he said, well, no, not exactly. And I said, well, then why did he give you a ticket? I thought once you put the license number in the computer that, it was kind of a fait accompli. You had to finish doing whatever you were doing. And he said, well, it's more complicated than that because I'm the chief of police. And when he said that, I thought, you've got the chief of police who is obviously a wild man, and you've got his son who is also obviously a wild man, in the same business in the same town. If that's not the making of a great movie, I don't know what is. Then I started thinking, we don't think we're a lot like our parents. But that's because when we know our parents, when we really get to be friends with our parents, we're around 20 years old. And we really start noticing who they are and what they are. I think, my personal opinion. So when you're 20 years old and your father is 45 years old, you don't think you're much like him at all. And that's really when you're first aware, I think. I mean, at 16, and the parents are kind of sometimes you can look at your parents as being kind of a nuisance, an annoyance. And truth be known, when you can look at your children as sometimes being a bit of an annoyance. So when you're 20 and your father is 40, let's do easy math. You're not much like him. When you're 30 and your father is 50, you probably don't see much similarities. But when you're 40 and your father is 60, and you remember your father when he was 40, you start going, I think I might be a lot like my father. When you're 50 and your father is 70, you go, son of a bitch. But when you are now 60 years old and your dad is gone, you remember your father very vividly at 60 years old. You remember him very vividly at 70. That's when you start realizing, I'm a lot like my father. My father is a lot like me, because that's the other perspective. Your father's looking at you at 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and going, wow, he's a lot like me. And my favorite line, by far, my favorite line in Like Son is when the son yells to his father, I'm not like you. Father's response is, Not yet. That to me is like Son. I have a theory that once you start something, especially a film, it's very difficult to stop. So a lot of people have trouble getting started. If you can get over your fear of getting started, then guess what you're going to do? You're going to finish a film. Alicia and I have made 11 in 7 years. What do I hope people get out of Like Son? I hope what people get out of Like Son is that they are a lot like their parents, and the parents are a lot like them. So it's really, in my mind, in this film, and I've explored it in other films too, but in my mind, in this film, it is nature that wins out over nurture. The guys in this movie, and the girls too, but this is really a male-dominant piece. These guys are tough as a Waffle House steak. What would I tell people? I tell people, folks, this is not a Hallmark film. This is not a Lifetime movie. This is a hard-hitting, down and dirty, rough language crime drama. So if you're interested at all in the other side of John Schneider, the other part of me, kind of my observations as a human being these last 60-something years, then I think Like Son is going to be eye-opening. And it might just lead you down a rabbit hole of other films that we've made. So you go to cineflixdod.com and you can watch Like Son right now. If you'd like a DVD, then go to johnschneiderstudios.com and order one. What I recommend is you watch it first on Cineflix, and if it is your taste, then by all means go get a DVD. Like Son is not for everybody, okay? It's not for everybody, but for those whom it is for, it's fantastic. I'm John Schneider. Enjoy John Schneider's Like Son.